At the end there, we heard it from the horse's mouth himself. Scoom able to take a win here is one of their desires. And of course, after losing a few people on the rotation there, they're able to hold out, able to erode down the competition, and they take themselves the chicken dinner for game number 3. It wouldn't be a day number 1 of a tournament with Liquid there without them getting themselves a chicken dinner, and we don't disprove that just yet. Once again, my name's Kyle Laris here at the analysis desk. To my left-hand side, Boogie and Avenger joining me overall. Team Liquid in the very end. They had that small watchtower for a long, long time, and they certainly didn't disappoint when they had to defend.
I mean, they saw the push coming in. I don't think they expected it to be a shotgun. If they pushed more aggressively, they had the upper hand in there. They knew there was a guy outside the zone pushed into them. The late dot was basically on top of them, so they just had to wait it out for it to make it a 2 versus 1 instead of a 2 versus 2. Perfect play with them. Not that many kills. I thought it was 3 kills. Not that many, but still, a win is a win.
One of the things that you mentioned there actually was shotgun, and we actually saw not only Sexy Pig pushing onto TSG before that, but also Esther with an auto shotgun of all things. So 2 shotguns still kept by Black at the very end to go into that late circle.
And it becomes very viable actually late into the game in very early stages as well. Late into the game because, of course, the teams won't have that much more of an armor left. Some teams won't have even helmets. Some players won't have absolutely anything to cover their heads or bodies. So shotguns become so super important, especially in TPP, where you see a lot of snaking around. And close quarter combat is very often met.
We had a surreal moment down there where one of our Asian representatives was rooting for Liquid, and I'm sat there rooting for Black, and that's how that went. But I love all of these teams regardless. Let's start at the very beginning of this game, though. Of course, we had actually Refund drop in a very interesting location compared to where we're normally used to seeing them across 3 games, of course. But a bit interesting, actually having to fight against Team Gates there in the apartments.
I mean, they started going to Team Gates' apartments instead of, making a long drum towards serve and shooting range, which you're kind of surprised about. I mean, they did have a kind of central coming from the east towards the west, just in the middle, so they could have gone there, taking cars, north or whatever, but they decided to go in their apartments in the school area. I'm not sure if they didn't know that there were players there, but they contested it, and it just went bad for both teams right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Losing players, we were saying this before, even if you lose 1 player before the circle shrinks in, before the first circle, it's very detrimental. However, Team Gates were able to actually get together and stay strong and move out of that situation to come into a very good position at the end of the game, which was a bit surprising considering their loot, but their pathing really saved it, and that's the thing that saved their skin at the qualifiers as well. It's all about their pathing and how they make their way inside the circle, avoiding fights. They're a bit of a pacifist team. They're definitely not a team that you would, or a team rather that you would put your perspective on, but they know how to get to late game, and that's what saves them always.
I got my Xanadu magnifying glass out, and I noticed them encroach a little bit onto Avenger territory once again. We won't talk too much about that, just they keep taking little chunks of space away from Avenger.
George, yeah.
And beyond that, of course, though, we saw actually 4 AM drop in an interesting location over towards that east bridge there, Boogie, and then eventually move down to military. So it worked out for them in their favor.
Yeah, actually the initial idea was for them to get vehicles early on and so they can make their transition towards the military island. But when they discovered that the trash area there just north of the military island, the yellow houses were looted, they thought, okay, maybe we can stop here first, get some utilities, get some scopes, because we can't find too many of those, some attachments as well, and then go through military, get a nice little detour, and then get into the circle. And they did come out with some really decent stuff on them.
Worked out well for them, especially since they were able to just go down the beach and into the circle as things played out. One scenario I really want to talk to you guys about is how Gold was almost stuck in between 2 teams. I think it was Savage and OHM that were kind of in that spot, and they actually took out Simpson very early. When you're in those kind of situations, Avenger, how do you deal with that? Because there are so many people around you, and you're kind of in an odd spot there as Gold.
There's multiple things going on there. I mean, there's a circle that you need to consider. There's also pinch situation. So do you want to fight it out? Which flank do you take on first? Because if you're in the middle, you're in a huge pinch. You need to do something about it. So you either focus one side or you leave.
Let's take a look at the round here as we have our 11th through 20th at the moment. Unfortunately for Xanadu, they actually fall in 20th place there during that game, even though they were rocketing up the scoreboard just before. And beyond that, of course, Navi and Avanga, they've kind of sat in that middle area of the pack for quite a few of these games in the TPP mode. Let's move on to our 1st through 10th As you see, Team Liquid bagging themselves 545 points, but most importantly, Pittsburgh Knights got so many kills, they were only 5 points behind.
Exactly, they played a beautiful sweeping game, is what we were talking about at the start of the show. They really cleared out the circles left, right, and center, just making their way, making sure that nobody is to their side. They've been basically the complete aggressors to half the teams this match.
I mean, we say that, but also Genji Black, 530 points. So between those two teams, they cleaned house in this game.
But what lost the game for Knights, though, was the aggressive push one by one. They lost players one by one in the end. They wanted to clean up. They wanted a third party, but they only third party with one player. And they eventually split, because they had the whole northern, so they kind of split up all over the north, which cost them.
Look at that top three at the moment, though. Genji Black, #1, OMG #2, and Team Liquid breaches the 1,000-point mark here in these 3 games. And I bet Genji Black right now, after getting that second place, and currently very far ahead of Gold, most importantly, are going to be very happy with that result.
Absolutely, they're super ecstatic. They're not necessarily, they have played 3PP until recently, and they still kind of are in real leagues, but then again, for them to come up this big against teams that play TPP so much more often in the Asian scene, it's really an achievement.
Yeah, definitely. And overall, though, Liquid managing to get themselves into that 3rd spot. They've been pretty consistent, though. We got a 6th place, we got an 8th place, and now we got a 1st place. So that's really helping them in those standings.
And it's just the Liquid things, you know. When they were in there in a hard position where they are trying so hard to do something about it, they rotate and they push themselves in a position where they get center in 3rd circle where there's nobody. So once they see that 3rd center circle or the 3rd circle pop, they just go center and they take a position where people don't usually play, or the teams don't usually play.
Of course, a team like Myth here was able to actually get a kill on their kind of team from their same region, Refund, a 1 run over kill overall. But I loved watching these guys play in the qualifying rounds. The guys like Homboyo being able to use SKS very, very effectively. I'm hoping to see more of that. Savage has been kind of a sleeper result of this tournament so far. I keep seeing them popping up on that kill feed, getting themselves some kills. Unfortunately for them, though, on the east side of the circle in game #3, eventually their position on the edge kind of caught up to them.
Yeah, that's what the problem with Savage is. They do have good riflers. They can put up a good fight, but the problem that the way they enter the circles is a bit of an issue for them. They always seem to run into teams. They always seem to be uncovered. And when they get into fights, they always seem to lack a bit of utility, which seems to be detrimental every single time for Savage.
And then, of course, we have Honey Badger Nation as well here. You've got 2 Americans in there, you've got 1 German, and you've got 1 Brit. And this is a team that, you know, for all intents and purposes, when it came to the North American qualifier, for me, slightly surprised me by getting that 3rd place. A lot of it was definitely on Wick, and we've seen them still continue to try and make those plays here. Likewise with the entire team, being able to encroach into that top 10 position in some of these games.
And that's typical for them. I mean, once they lose, you know, 1 or 2 or even 3 players, it's usually Wick alive in the end, and he just makes sneaking in. We saw it at the small little power ending. He just snuck in, he tried to survive, and actually eventually got into the top 10 because of that.
Yeah. He actually got saved at some moment in time when an enemy player was pushing on against him, and then another team actually wiped him out. So that was kind of a saving grace for Wick at that moment.
And here is WTSG as well. And actually, Avenger, I want to talk to you about them because their early rotation in that game was very interesting.
I mean, they rotate so early that they're
Very
just sitting ducks in their cars once they rotate, because they rotate through all the teams, but they're not ready to leave yet. So they actually take a lot of fire on their rotation because they want to leave so early. They want to make sure that they leave before they get gate kept by Black.
Yeah, definitely, and that's something that they've definitely got to consider here when continuing on down the line. As later on there, of course, you saw them able to kind of sneak into a good position, 4th spot in the end against all of the rest of these teams. And as you can see there, we have, I believe that is our kill count for a current lead, or at least from that previous game as well. And you can see Voxic sitting at that 9 at the moment, so looking pretty good for himself as well. And overall, Knights is a team that we see so much consistency out of. For them to be racking up the kills doesn't surprise me, especially when it came to that last game.
Absolutely. So you will see this happening throughout the tournament. It doesn't matter if it's 3PP or FPP. These guys are going to go in and get those frags. The best part about it is that they know how to do it as well. They don't overcommit to fights. They know when to back off out of them, and they know how to push as an entire squad. They usually, at the end of the game there, when Texas actually went as an anchor in a 3+1 3+1 split it actually was, that was a bit detrimental indeed because they thought it was probably one team remaining when there were actually two. So that's what actually got them to lose on the third spot. Other than that, they know really well how to put up a good fight.
That's right, and they know how to pretty much, I'm going to steal a phrase from you from before Avenger, kind of gatekeep people from coming into the circle. We saw them going up against a Vanguard before. This is going to hurt me. But regardless, it's time now to go over to game number 4. It's the final game of the day here to find out who racks up more points for TPP.
Yes, Moses, who will be that team? The number 1 team by the end of the day. I want your bet right now.
It really looks like it's going to be Gen G Black. I mean, it's easy for me to say that's his third first right now, but I mean, at the same time, they have shown that they can adapt to the situation that's handed to them.
Yeah.
And they really handled it masterfully. I think there was a little bit of luck in there with Team Gates getting involved in that game.
Yeah.
Kind of distracting and allowing them to get into the play zone. But at the same time, they played that endgame very well. I think that I would have liked to see just a little bit more aggression from Yoon to come up and deal with Liquid as a team because they didn't have that ability to trade. If they're both there, that double peek can't happen when they come out the window. And really for Liquid, I think the veteran presence there in that situation really helped them.
Yeah, they played that so well. I think the circle to the very, very end helped them. That's why like, the pressure was not on Liquid to make that play. The pressure was to run closer and actually do something.
It'll go center every time too, right? So they know that Liquid just has to be patient. They waited it out, and just like that, you had to come out of cover. They took him down. That's that. The game comes apart.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how it moves forward.
How about you?
About me? I would like an underdog to kick up, personally.
Okay.
An underdog.
So,
I'm actually a big WTSG fan.
Okay, got it.
Thanks to back when they used to be formerly known as Kingwin.
Yes.
Like I always liked them because they were at the first event that I got to cast for PUBG, and I'm just like, these guys are awesome. And now we'll see where the cards fall, you can say, as we are taking the plane.
And the bodies.
It's at the
where will the bodies fall?
If they hit the floor, that's where they go.
All right.
Down the
Thanks,
eastern
2004. I appreciate that.
That was my era, bro. It's my era. You got an issue with the 2000s? Next thing you'll say, I don't like 90s music.
Anyway,
yeah.
Looks like we're going to have a nice, actually, a far east plane path.
Yes.
And that's going to be a little bit harder to deal with than the plane path we saw last game, which gives a lot of options. It's going to be really difficult to get to that GACA Georgia Pole area.
Yep, I'm actually watching where Navi's even popping out. They're coming out on top of the military island, and this was already pretty crowded before because Gold, as well as the 4 a.m. boys, were together on this one, and it's going to be a real cluster.
Exco,
it's
he wants
the
vehicle.
UAC,
Exco,
he wants to be a farmer. A farmer has a prosperous life. Looking forward to him.
It looks like he just got beat. Refund grabs that vehicle. There was a couple of teams going for that. Just like that, actually, Liquid's got Avangard right on top of them as well. Yeah, it's Samty. Liquid's all over the place.
Yeah, where is...
They're scattered to the wind here. Looks like Samty got his vehicle stolen. James and Scoom a little bit more fortunate. And we will stay in this area, so the rotation's not going to be as difficult in this first play zone.
Yeah, this can be quite easy. Everyone just comes in, but I'm wondering too, like, if this actually hurts you, because so many teams already on the eastern side, none of that loot from the western side is really going to get involved in this unless you're going for a very long run. And yeah, your Circle and Na'Vi at the moment, they are making a boat run all the way to the west. They're sticking with Primorsk. They are nothing if not predictable.
So we can see Black also on the descent, trying to figure out what to do. But you're right, Na'Vi is in a very weird spot. OMG somewhat similar. Na'Vi has to get to Primorsk, which is the opposite side of the map where the circle has revealed itself.
It's like maybe
they're going to have to go and loot and then have to come all the way back.
It's like maybe we just like, let's just stop. Let's just stop a ferry pier.
They might actually do that to at least find a vehicle.
Trip.
Yeah, I mean, for them, it's really about speed in the early game, and getting looted quickly means you can rotate earlier. And if you can rotate earlier, maybe teams are still in their loot phase. They can't put pressure on you. So for Na'Vi, it looks like they're going to stay committed to that Primorsk region. But now they have to decide, how are we going to deal with this?
Yeah.
Looks like WTSG all in one vehicle here.
Yeah, that's never a dangerous thing. There's actually only 3 people inside this vehicle. They're a little bit more split, but Black's up on top of the hill. They've already been looting up, but WTSG, they are very, very set on Georgia Pole because Vard's already arrived there.
Yeah, it looks like Vard using that scout. I mean, not really anything to scout. That place is going to be completely dead at this stage. So
yeah, this is a property market. Just it's a great time. Prices are low.
Miracue's got that 1911. He's got, he'll protect them on the way there. So. OMG had an interesting game last time around. I think they just kind of got caught in that cascading failure on that right side of the play zone where everyone was like, I'll take this team, and then the team that's already a little bit ahead of them takes them out. It really one after the other, and really the Knights came out on top eventually, but it really cost the Knights on the way there. They just took so much damage. Umino just running around.
He's in the middle of nowhere trying to hit Orion, but Uber doesn't service this area.
Refund is having a tough time. They're currently dead last. There's nothing really for them to really hold on to right now, other than the fact that it's only the first day, but we're at the end of that first day, and if they want to have a chance to have anything happen, it has to be in this game. Yeah, they had an interesting start. They really dealt with Team Gates in the apartment complex, but it didn't translate into anything beyond that.
Yeah, they didn't actually get a single kill in the first 2 rounds, and they got 19th position then 18th position.
Yeah.
At least they started getting better one position at a time.
Got to keep up with Myth here, who's had a better showing, and a team that's improved through the last couple of times that I've been able to watch them. And really, we've been seeing that improvement across the board in that Asian Pacific region where, you know, they don't really get to interface with some of these teams a whole lot. So to come here really in their comfort zone and deal with teams like Team Liquid, WTSG, the Knights, really heavy-hitting Western European teams that have been around for forever.
Yeah.
And in an environment.
A LAN environment, too.
Yeah, a LAN environment as well in a beautiful stage area. But for Refund, it's got to be maybe getting to them a little bit.
Yeah, but at least Refund have a better position. They did take a bit of a risk. They drove pretty well through everything, but they found this nice compound smack bang in the middle of the circle is now.
Wow,
well,
nice spray.
Always
going down early.
Is he actually finish him? Balak's nearby, but can he actually save him? They're back behind the car.
It looks okay. Luckily, I don't think he wants to press this.
I think he's worried about being shot through the side or having the car blow up in front of his face, but Balak's either going to have to commit to this. Nope, it's a runaway.
Yeah, OHM has not been playing.
Oh, wow, Balak actually got him.
The turn.
He did the full runaway.
Interesting choice there. I mean, he did a lot of damage to Profi.
Yeah, he did, and he could have potentially just laid into the car and blown it up. It would have been almost a guaranteed kill. Hello, McCoy, the style rider, just riding straight in front of him.
We've seen that
and
from
he'll
Profi
finish the job.
We've seen that from Profi a lot, where he kind of goes on this really long peak or a flank, or maybe is in a scout vehicle just a little bit too far away, and he gets himself into trouble.
Another bit of trouble. M4 is going to go down for AHQ. This is not the start they wanted to have either, so down to 78 players in this early time of the game.
Looks like Ghost is just going to want to set up shop here. Look at this. Avangar using that third-person vision, looking for Jeems, the Vector guy.
He's a big kill if they can claim it on Liquid, one of the big sharp shooters, and he's the first one from Team Liquid to rotate out of Pollyanna.
Jeems is definitely looking to throw that Vector in the closest river and find himself a real gun, and he will do that. Switch. Oh, maybe not.
No, he's
going to hold on to it for a while.
Oh, that's wonderful close range, dude. It's wonderful. I'm wondering too, like, if Jeems' position is just so Liquid have more options. Like, they already kind of own Pollyanna, and they know this, but they moved out very quickly during the last round. This time, they're taking a lot longer to get through.
So I'm wondering, we see 4AM there on the screen. Is this their cheering section down below us, I wonder? Are there any 4AM fans down below us here? No, it doesn't look like it. I guess not.
No.
All right. I guess I threw that one.
They have no idea what you're saying.
Fair enough, that's true.
So 4AM actually going to do the same rotation they did previously, and this is Refund's nice position. The Honey Badgers, a very resilient creature, but still susceptible to the fire of exploding cars. They had the distance, however, and now this is the moment. The trap.
They're gophers.
Yep.
Looking for their shadows.
It's almost like a meerkat. I sense danger. I sense danger.
Jeems has got a. I don't know if he has any idea that they're there.
He should not. They've made no.
They are going to.
And now that's the moment. Jeems is in the open, and it's a slaughter. It's the OK Corral, except only one person walked into it.
Wow, that's very fast.
What is that jump up?
I haven't seen that before. Third person is a strange world we live in.
It is. I'm wondering just how much vision you get from doing such a thing as well. Honey Badgers. Okay, This is not cool. They got CGW. They've also got on the side.
They're in trouble.
They are getting hit from 3 different sides at the moment.
No.
Gun down. Grizzly and Fast Rail say goodbye.
Everyone getting involved there.
Now Refund got one. CGW got the other.
Not a good start for Honey Badger Nation. And look at this. Where are we?
Oh, wow.
Are we in South George?
Wait. We're in South George right now, but Black is right around the corner up on top of the hospital, but someone's getting medical attention. This wall is coming thick and fast, and they've still got to run in through the western side, which thankfully for them is very open because that is a clusterbuck right in the middle of the circle.
It looks like Genji Black has this kind of perimeter set up around WTSG where they're going to have to decide where they're going to want to go. And Genji Black knows they're there. We've heard this a couple of times. Oh no. Honey Badger Nation is just not having a good round.
Yeah, 1v1 is a little bit different to 1v6. Obviously, he doesn't know how to handle that situation just yet.
There's only one guy. What do I do?
I don't know. I can only do the difficult stuff, not the easy stuff. Na'Vi also still hasn't left, but they'll start the movement out. They are going to go by car all the way over, but this is that nice close look at that eastern side. CGW as well as Knights on either side. The prison, Refund's nice and locked up too. Myth Trust have their good position as well. The Chiefs, the Australians just gone in for the factory. Ghost is a little bit further to the west, but 4 a.m. they are charging through over the hill. They had the convoy going to work and instantly pull out as quick as you can. Regrets when neighbors. CGW reveals their position, and Knights actually try and get in on the action too.
4 a.m. forced to stop. CGW kind of preventing them from getting anywhere near that prison ridge, that very important prison ridge. The Knights are there as well. So we've seen, this is kind of a replay from the last game where there's all these teams in this area. The Knights have heard the vehicles of 4 a.m. and they're running up the hill to see if they can find anything. Myth is also in the exact same spot. So it's kind of like a replay from the last game, but for now, 4 a.m. has found themselves in a much better spot, not stuck on the coast. It looks like they're going to change up the game plan and go center.
Yeah, for the sake of variety, we kind of hope the circle shifts north and we get ourselves a bit of a different ending. Those hills to the northeast are a beautiful place to fight from, as now the SLR going to work. With the 6x scope, can't actually connect, however. Mumino trying to find his bullets.
They're like actual stormtroopers, not actually hitting anything at this stage.
Classic great Star Wars. We are only stormtroopers can be this precise.
The tracers look so good, but I mean, it only looks good if you're hitting your target as they drive past.
I wonder they walk in single file to hide their numbers. That was never the stormtroopers. They were never that smart.
All right, so it looks like that prison ridge is so important, and CGW has it completely locked down. We've been talking about vision through these last two games and how it's so important in the third-person environment. They can use that rocky outcropping along the prison ridge. You can see them just above Refund. They don't expose themselves. They can look down into the bowl across the way. The Knights holding onto the Wizard Tower. Refund just below. It looks like right now that western side of the play zone is where pressure is going to mount. Yep. And Navi's actually had a relatively easy way in because there's so much density in that center area. All these teams piling on top of each other. Really interested to see how no one has decided to play the edge. It's a much safer strategy, but you might have to rotate further.
I'm wondering too, like not even playing the edge. Everyone jumps in towards the middle. This has happened now 2-3 rounds in a row where everyone just clusters in for that early position, that early lockdown spot. And wondering if this is also a reaction for a lot of the first-person teams to try and play the third-person positioning instead. Just find proper cover and just lean around the corners.
Yeah, it's such a huge part of this game, and you can see for Avangard, they've been using these kind of balcony buildings to kind of prone, use that vision, rotate around. Profi's doing it here. It just gives you such an advantage, and I was expecting for these first-person teams to actually have a little bit easier of a time.
Na'Vi. Profi able to get a couple of shots over towards them. This is only the first wave of Na'Vi. The second wave is arriving. Drainus is very, very far behind the rest of his team.
These long rotates are hard to manage when you have a lead vehicle. You're looking for a spot. We have shifted north.
We do. We move in. Lipovka will stay in. The edge of Pollyanna will also exist. And it's the Chiefs who are in the middle of the circle, but they don't have a lot of cover where they are. Instead, it's a full run through, and all these established positions now going to open up on fire to all the rotating teams.
Something interesting from the break, we saw Team Gates talking about their performance at the qualifier, coming in first place. Then going into Vegas. Ooh, they're getting close to each other here.
Yeah, Team Gates is also welcome to South George, going right across them. Na'Vi.
Gaxi
runs straight into Molodoi, and then bails out.
He's out of here. He's like, okay, listen, that's kind of crowded. I gotta leave.
That's fine. Bikes are just as strong as cars when it comes to collisions.
You've got great balance.
If not stronger, if you hit it on the bonnet.
Those training wheels on there, you know, it really prevents it from tipping over.
There's the run over, so OHM getting involved in the battle too. Yoppie will actually go all the way down, but Ghost is the Chiefs who are established up. They've got the big area and also the freshly wooded. I say freshly, about a year ago wooded.
Yeah, that's a very interesting spot to try and pick. Oh, Team Gates just rolled
right through them. Go Turtle can just open up. He's already found Mortifying.
2.
And yep, McCoy joins him. Exco.
Oh my god.
That's it for Gates. Once again, they find themselves in the middle of 3 teams, but it's Swampland.
But Ghost got a little bit too familiar. It looks like now Honey Badger Nation getting involved.
There's Iron sighting the AK, trying to find the kill, but Timid will fall. And it's Ghost, who currently control the Swampland.
Here are the Knights again, using that high ground position we saw in Team Liquid here before. Genji Gold, a team that I looked at as arguably one of the better teams here, not really finding their stride just yet. Umino taking some damage, but for Team Gates, they had a great finish in California. They went to Vegas, got destroyed. You have to wonder if that's now affecting them mentally, as here, it seems that in team fights, they just seem to fold repeatedly. Their rotations just aren't there.
They were talking in the interview as well, like it was actually it was a good thing that this happened to them because it kind of resets their mentality. It takes away that level of arrogance and then allows them to review the way they play this game. Obviously, there's still a little bit more review work to do.
Yeah, clearly, and there will be ample opportunity for improvement. Yeah.
Mossy is down for the moment. It's all on Silo to try and keep their hopes alive. But there's 19 teams left in this fight. But Gates, there it is,
wow.
18 teams. They are eliminated in that 19th position.
Unfortunate for Team Gates. They're not getting that rotation down pat. They just seem to, they kind of get lost in rotation, then they get stuck in a wooded area, that mansion rotation. Trying to get through that forest in a vehicle is a death trap. It's very difficult to navigate in there, and it costs them greatly.
Yep. Easy to flip, easy to hit a lot of things, and even in third person with the extra view, it's still a nightmare for him. And as Knights and Gold going at it from a very long distance. Kramer trying to find these windows. Hard to get the instant kill, though.
The Knights are, I think, starting to come around to this this game mode. I really like the way they've been playing these high ridges, using those DMR rifles to really pick apart teams at distance. Not necessarily getting a lot of those instant downs that we've seen in first person, but for them it's just picking away and then being opportunistic. It's really been working for them, at least the last game.
Cannot believe how much space there is on the west. Like, Black is coming in here through the northern side of Pollyanna, and they're being careful about it because they probably think maybe someone's still here. Nobody is in Pollyanna. They've all moved to the east. They're trying to find their better positions. The most crowded town you see is actually in Lipovka.
Lipovka being occupied by Savage. They again have 4AM kind of hemmed in on the coastline. 4AM had a lot more opportunity to navigate here. They found themselves in Lipovka. Now they're doing an early vehicle push before the circle even finishes.
This may not be correct.
Yeah, this is not a good push for them.
Lockwick is there. He's trying to get that instant hit, but he can't actually get any kind of connection. All the traces are flying just a little bit further behind the car.
Only one gun pointed their way, but 4AM making this early push, and they actually guessed correctly and are going straight north, but they're headed right into the Knights. I like the fact that they got in those vehicles early because everyone started just a little bit later, but they're split. Captain and Godfrey are ahead.
The split actually helped them out because Knights got into their cars and moved off before 4AM was able to reach them. So 4AM will come in 2 waves, but it's going to come late into the edge of the circle.
The Knights have an open compound. It looks like they're going to be able to steal this very quickly.
Glaxy. He's taken shots from the side. Edge has just died from the fall. Winner will finish the job. And Pure Boy Larson, I think he was thinking about running him over. Pure Boy stands his ground, cannot connect it to Larson. And WTSG up the hill and far, far away. Second tree to the right and straight on till, well, north.
Larson does not shake easily, and he's been playing very relaxed, maybe a little bit too relaxed. They're not doing terribly, but not having that high-flying kill performance we've seen from them in the past so far. Liquid, however, still staying together. They're coming very close to Ghost.
Critical is going to go down. This is real issues for Chief as they just try and do the run.
Knights flanking. They have no idea.
Camp just needs one more hit. As you said, the flank is coming in, and there's your grenade. Godv will go down instantly, being finished off, and there is the extra attack. Where is the help from Captain?
Grenade.
It's a little too short for Texas. Actually, he will get knocked. Captain into the car. Needs to start his run back, just reversing. Bail, 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 bail. I don't want anything to do with this.
Nice
Flip it
maneuver.
around. And this is Stunt Driver is now the new name of this game.
I like the fact that they bailed on that so easily, and only getting one player lost is actually fairly decent considering that Knights were all on top of them. Dukan had that long flank, or sorry, that long cover with the Car 98, saved their team essentially.
Oh, Na'Vi.
Oh no.
What is happening to Na'Vi? They're getting ripped apart. It's not even like a full flank hit on it. Dre, he finds a nice target, gets a knock onto Refund. You said they're having a hard time, and Pino trying to get back into the cover. He will be able to do so,
Navi's
but Dre is repositioning, and Na'Vi, they're in a world of hurt. They're trying to drive through this.
They have nowhere to stop, and
gone.
Lame will go down. Na'Vi, that long transition really costing them. Uba is still left standing, but he is now the last man standing on the edge of the play zone.
That's a horrible position too. We can't even move up from there. Like there's no real cover to work with, and everyone is waiting for him to the north.
I like WTSG made a big risk there. They drove all the way north. I think they're again banking on that northern shift. We'll see what happens. Knights picked up a great compound. Refund is right next door to them, but they are split. Dre has that compound held, but the rest of Knights stopped to deal with 4AM. So now Knights are in a position where they have 3 alive, but for Dre, he could get overrun very easily.
I love this movement in from Black. That takes so long to get in, but they've got such a great overview of Keen, who's locked out. His car just got blown up while everyone's scrambling for position. Black is just taking their time and playing the range battle in the big open field.
I think Black has been playing similar to the Knights in a couple of instances. Oh, that was Kramer taking down Miou. That looked well synced.
Yep.
But
I got a follow-up, and even the grenades. Funky actually dies, so does Miou, so Refund are going to lose another 2.
They're trading. It's the Knights and Refund trading a little bit further up the hill, but the way Black has been playing is similar to the Knights, where they're using that high ground cover, kind of moving as a team, setting up a firing line, and just putting pressure all around them. And that circle is going to shift very center, and that is going to benefit
Liquid.
Hey.
Oh, surprise. Someone's still holding onto that rabbit foot from them, as well as welcome to South Georgia, all the northern side of this, but it's real problems.
Black is punishing everyone who holds those long.
They actually making that run straight through the middle as well. AHQ just trying to make a run through Liquid as well as Gold, and they got wrecked for it.
Dre did a great job of dealing with Refund by himself, and that was kind of the problem. They were split. He was going to get easily overrun, but he did a lot of damage. I think they've managed to recover at least a little bit, but now the Knights have to make a late vehicle push as Liquid tries to hold on to their compound. Ghost nearby.
Savage is on a full run. OMG, WTSG looking for that kill. Xiaorong gets into cover. They're all just basically doing doughies around this small little defilade. Silence force out of his. And maybe Xiaorong's going to pick him up. Oh, he slowed down to stop with the rock.
Wow.
Will not get knocked. Larson can't
close.
get the hits.
Very close. Ooh, that name looks all right.
A little bit off to the side. Savage getting wrecked up by Myth.
Larson's got to back off. He can't peek. Like, if you peek over that ridge, you're going to get shot right in the face. Larson knows that. He's going to back off. But right now, it's Liquid kind of dealing with OMG, the remaining flank that kind of got dispersed. Oh, and it looks like Genji Black also under pressure.
You actually think that position from Liquid's good, but there's so much defilade, there's so much cover around them that it's actually quite easy to come onto Liquid's position without Liquid being able to really offer some kind of contest. But long-range shots with the SLR is not going to connect.
Avangar has this kind of split push happening between CGX and Genji Black.
Oh, hello. Na'Vi still with a little bit of bite. Marimo Star's going to get knocked.
So I'm wondering if Avangar wants to push on this and kind of take one of these fights. They're almost pinched essentially between these two teams. Genji Black knows they're there. Mumina does go down.
And the grenade
follow-up. Wow.
They're looking to finish him. 0 risk, all reward. The grenade really takes him down, but it's actually CGX who gets the kill. Stolen 15 points.
Yeah, they heard the shots and came over and wanted to investigate. Genji Black. Now Avangar finding themselves in that pinch.
Black's trying to steal this one. You take ours, we take yours.
Anuktiv has actually had to get away from his teammate and now finds himself playing solo.
Yep.
And again, without a helmet, this is the damage. It really seems like these European teams are struggling to deal with the maneuverability and the flexibility the third person is handing the Korean teams.
Now they're looking for the new hair ship sponsor, like it's like Pantene Pro V or something. Like, doesn't my hair just flow beautifully without a helmet? Savage in real trouble once again. They started their rotation, and Pino will go down. This is not the dream once again, but still 17 teams kicking.
Genji Black staying very active. WTSG also in a similar position, but they're just not being able to get that same traction that Genji Black has.
Uba, he actually finally killed Murmur. It took a while to do so. He bled out.
I did see a team kill there for 4AM as well. They're dealing with Chiefs, the last man standing on the edge of the play zone. Looks like 3 strong still there, but they're getting picked apart slowly by Refund.
Black still held a great position. As long as Welcome to South George doesn't really contest them, they can deal with CGX if the circle comes in. And it's real.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Refund is in trouble. Or, sorry, excuse me, 4AM is in trouble.
Yep. DJ Chip did get knocked, but he still got the the kills. Yep, they're out.
So CGX kind of using this ridge to navigate. Oh, and they might spot Anuktiv there if he's not careful.
There it is.
There he goes.
AVG. Avangar is out. Eliminated in that 15th position.
CGX is well aware of Genji Black's position above them.
But how do you deal with this? Do you try and push him? It looks like there's no cover area to move around.
Use the ridge. You use the ridge to kind of you grab that vision, kind of walk the edge, but it's kind of just a little bit too gentle of a slant. They might be spotted.
And then you got to ask yourself the question, is the fight worth it? The circle is going to finish its encroachment now. We'll see where the new area pushes. But Black, as well as CGX, they're coming in close together, looking for that battle as Black. Maybe it's now on them to start the push. Black's got the line right. Rio will drop, and now the grenade. The long
that looks okay.
That looks pretty nice, and there's going to be a second follow-up as well. The flying forward, it will do enough damage on the second one right next to Pure Boy, but it bounces too far.
They're on the ridge. That means that the nades will bounce downhill and out of harm's way. Gen.G Black can't use their utility here. They're not aware, CGX, how close that Gen.G Black is. They're throwing those grenades long distance. So for now, it looks like they're going to be able to hold that ridge and prevent CGX from moving, but they both need to move to the play zone. If CGX gets in front of Gen.G Black, they might be able to make something happen, and it looks like Gen.G knows that.
Yep, and they're trying to do something about it. If they can bail, if they can run away, Pure Boy out too far, and Grammatic is just able to knock him down. And that is an unsalvageable player out way too far. Meanwhile, Myth Trust is getting wrecked up in their own position, and they are actually eliminated in that 13th spot as CGX, they're just on the run into the smoke. He's actually going to get the pickup onto Pure Boy, but the circle is coming in. The circle is right on top of Team Liquid, and an encroachment, here she is.
Gen.G Black, that vehicle rotation, maybe a bit of a distraction technique, but Savage waiting there in the wings. It's the solo player, does down Esther, but backup has arrived. Yoon is there, and looks like Sexy Pig is going to use that vehicle, try and cover his teammate and go for the res here.
Thought for a moment he's going to try and run him over. Savage, they have actually found the area around the back. Does he know?
No, he's looks like he's going to fold this one and try and get away. The backup has arrived. The Knights active on the edge of the zone. CGX will go down.
Yeah, there goes Xanadu. Gold is under attack. OHM, they're pushing it in. All the utility, all the grenades, they're hitting hard. 1 HP. That's all they have to work with, but this one may be even better. Right around the back of the tree, in for the spray, and the damage actually bounced off the tree and came back. But there's still more grenades where that came from. This one should be a little bit better. TMH, that's right around the back, and there she goes.
Forced him away from the tree. Nice play. Eliminating OHM, but looks like there's more grenades on the way. That utility coming out now. The flashbangs coming from Voxic. WTSG getting pressure.
Vard is just in an absolute pincer. Vorsic as well as Kramer see it perfectly. Is there any kind of help to come in?
Smoke.
And that's where Miracle will actually drop. He was meant to be that help for the rest of WTSG, but it's just not there.
Vard.
He's pushing it.
Yeah, look, he's completely pinched here. Miracue's down. Vard has got guys behind and in front.
He's going to take one of these hits, but he just can't do it. WTSG are out. Vard and Miracle will fall, and Knights chalk up their 8th kill. But they still have to go further down south. Savage and Black are there on the northwest side of the circle.
If Gen.G Black gets rid of Savage, they're going to have to deal again with the Knights. These teams have been going at each other. Liquid, again, finding themselves in a position where they don't really have to do anything but sit still.
Can anyone kill off Savage?
He's lurking.
He's sitting in a pile of smoke while being looked at by 3 players from Black and potentially also Knights.
Don't look at me.
It's just that one little rock he's got.
Don't look at me.
Liquid are still in the circle as well on the western side. OMG, the only other team to be inside the circle, the new one.
Texas just went down. So now...
a little too far forward from the rest of the team.
Yeah, I mean, he's by himself. He's gotta chill.
He's bleeding fast too. Like I don't think they're gonna. I don't think Kramer can actually get there in time to get the pickup.
Savage. Oh, Knights still staying active. They're trying to get Black in rotation. They're having to make a run for it. Yoonroot bringing that vehicle again as cover. Sexy Pig a little further away on the low side flank, but they know that Mike's is there. They're just trying to get rid of him. And the headshot.
Yeah, that's an M249. You do not want to go against that. No helmet left now for Sexy Pig. He's just got the car.
down.
Yep, OMG able to pick up a kill.
Oh!
Pick up a second kill. Oh, actually finish him off.
Wow.
Silence in trouble. He probably won't make that hut.
Esther was eliminated, but they did get rid of Savage in the meantime. But now it's the Knights. It's Texas.
Yeah, Kramer got to him in time.
Yeah.
Full medivac service.
So OMG is kind of playing this a bit of a spoiler here in this shack. They're just popping out and throwing shots at Gen.G Black as they're now dealt with Savage. And look at that nice utility usage. They're blocking line of sight.
That's a real nice grenade right on top of Sexy Pig. He knew exactly where he was, but the nade was too short.
Look at that smoke placement. They put that there for a reason. They blocked the line of sight. Now Sexy Pig can kind of LOS himself, get a med, and now he's going to have to figure a way out of here. Oh!
There is no way. Knocked down by Kramer. Knights have secured that northeast corner. There is, of course, a bit of a troublesome man behind him. K3 just holding the back lines, but Black are still able to pick up their teammates and get back into this. A lot of vehicles, a lot of cover,
Good team
and still
play.
maneuverability.
Good team play by Gen G Black. They got the res, but they're getting lots of pressure.
Kramer's got the line. Look at that
Oh.
line. Through the smoke, he just hopes to hit, but the smoke will start to dissipate in a second.
They have to move now. The utility is great, but now they have to move, and they can't just yet. They have to actually get a land here on Kramer. He's half health, but they are pinned here. This is horrible for Gen G Black.
Yeah, at least Kramer's been hurt, so he'll have to actually met up for a bit, but Knights are loving this. They've already got 9 kills. We're down to 7 teams at the moment,
Nowhere to
and
hide.
Black is just being dropped down. These vehicles are explodable if you want to have a crack at them.
Can't see. He can't see.
He's trying to shoot a grenade right now.
So for the Knights, they are still getting pressure. K3 is there kind of causing havoc. The Knights have, this is where they kind of get into trouble. They've got 9 kills, but they've been taking so much damage. This time around, however, it looks like the benefactor might be Gen G Gold, who's been super quiet, along with Liquid. Liquid is rotating south away from Gen G Black, and now it's going to be OMG still trying to hold the tide of Gen G Black, and they're coming right at them.
Yeah, they need the pickups. Here comes Black. OMG. It's a crap jack for a reason, and now Chromatic is going to make him pay. Take 1, looking for the second, and he'll take 2. Xiaorong, Xiaohai, goodbye.
The crowd reacts as a nice play. Again, Gen G Black trying to get out of a very tough position, and they take that drastic measure, and it's successful, and they get the zone as well.
AHQ winner. He'll get knocked on down. Gold with the ones who have been troubled by it, but they've still got 4 players up with 1 knock out of them. And Liquid will have to move for the first time in, 3 rounds.
So for Liquid, they've played the position. They do have 5 kills. They've been picking up kill steals here and there, getting it down, trying to finish it off. Samty up on the roof. He's got great vision on the Gen G Black. He's holding security for his team while the rest are rotating around, trying to get vision on Gen G Gold. But the Knights are still there, picking away at everybody.
So Black are actually pincered from 2 sides. So it's Knights who are shooting into the shack, and they got Liquid who are still holding the roof points. That's the reason why Samty is still up here. He doesn't want to let Black get out of here, and now K3 again. They have to deal with this thorn in their side.
Yeah, K3's doing a great job of keeping the Knights always on their toes. Now Kramer on his stomach. Unfortunately, he's down. But Liquid's rotated away from Gen G Black. This is a good thing for them. Samty, if he goes down here, he's got no support.
Liquid have found another target. Chelitzer getting knocked. So Gold, with these numbers advantage, they want to try and win. K3 will finally be brought down, but not by the Knights. Actually brought down by Gold.
Gold looks like they're struggling now.
Circle is moving in. Liquid are already starting their run. They want to try and hold the southern part. Knights are already in on the east, but they may be not in so deep.
One more.
Liquid, no! EB cannot connect, and Skoom is trying to join the fight too, but they're covering behind that very thin tree, but it may, no, it's not enough. Eska gets knocked, and Kramer gets put down.
Liquid being very active, but the circle now a factor. Gen G Gold maybe using a little bit too much of that time, and now they're being forced into the open, and so are the Knights. They've been trying to be rezzed, but Liquid is just going after Gen G Gold.
Oh, he's trying to finish the job. Run at Vorsic in the cover. Sexy Pig, he's got a buggy. Vorsic's got a tree. Loki around the corner of the tree. Only his coat is showing out the side. Can't connect on that. Does he actually have a first aid? He's going to tick out to the circle if he doesn't make the run, and down he goes. Skoom will take the kill, and we go down to 3 teams as Gen G Gold takes 4th position. Knights locking Black in. Oh, that's just a turkey shoot.
Wow, Voxic ended up going down in that. So now it's just Texas left standing, and it looks like Voxic will be finished. So now Texas with 4 kills. And the zone pressing him.
He'll have to get in the car and drive. He's got no other choice, and they had it. Dramatic, perfect hit. Texas will fall. And now Black comes out. They don't have their normal 4 players left at the end, but they'll do it. A 3-on-3. Liquid have such fantastic angles from all sides. They've knocked down 2. There's 1 more to go. They want Yoon if they can claim him. And Abid is moving in nice and close. They know. Anyone have a grenade. Anyone for the long throw.
Here it comes.
Here she rolls up. Pull the pin, toss it in, and in 3, 2, 1, boom on the side.
Oh my God, here comes another one.
Penalty shoot, second time's the charm, that's on the edge. much. Scoom knocking down Grammatic once again. They'll finish the job.
It's up to Yoon.
Oh, hey, how's he get out of this, man? Like, right now, like, you're not big enough to fit through the door.
time?
This is Winnie the Pooh moment right now. They've eaten too much honey. The bounce is just off target. How much more can this shack take? Destructible environments for the win. Yoon, he wants to come out. He's trying his own nade hit to Ibiza, and he's actually got on the side. He'll hit and do some damage. He'll get the knock and buy a little bit of space. Yoon, he was fighting the inevitable, but still he put up a big one. Liquid will take their second victory. Third and fourth round of the day belongs to Liquid.
He might be tall. Ibiza, not a basketball player, missing those grenades over and over again. He did get forced out of cover, but that was a really nice team play from Liquid. They kept it together. Scoom with the leading 7 frags.
Yeah.
NG Black, again, fighting uphill, gets themselves a second place finish.
That was still, so there was 12 kills for both of the last remaining teams, Black and Liquid. High positioning at the end, high kills at the end. Even Knights were able to pull in a lot as well. They gained themselves 9 kills out of the whole thing. So really high scoring rounds for this last round of day 1.
Really nice plays overall. Again, I have to commend Genji Black. It looked like they were on the ropes so often. They were having to get out of these horrible positions, but just fighting their way out. But it really seems like it was almost a mirror match of the last game where we had the Knights, Genji Black, and Liquid all battling out for that top 3 spot. Genji Gold, I mean, good effort, but they just ran out of time on the edge of the zone. Really great effort, though. I'm impressed with Genji Black, but I got to hand it to Liquid.
Yep.
2 in a row.
Yep, you kind of wonder though, like, again, the circles appear to be on their side every time, but their positioning is good. They spaced out, and it was kind of funny because we're talking about how great Black did it with their 2-2 split. Liquid, this time around, Black only had 3 players. Liquid had the same, and the split worked so much better. Black not having that extra number at the end really seemed to hurt them.
The pressure from Liquid really helped. I mean, the way that Eevee held that angle just to keep Yoon from coming out the door of the shack, it really kept him from helping. It was impressive to see from Eevee to kind of hold that essentially on his own, but they just stayed calm.
Yep, they did. They were able to hold through it. I can't wait to actually see, too, like, how does day 1 pan out now? It was a terrific performance by a lot of teams. Of course, we see Liquid standing up. We see Black standing up, and Knights having their last big run at the very end. Who is holding that leaderboard?
I think that it might be, it's obviously close between Genji Black and Liquid, but I mean, they were very close in kills as well. Not going to attempt to do the quick math there.
It was literally the same.
It was, yeah,
12.
There you go. So, I mean, the fact that Genji Black and Liquid are trading it right at the top is going to make the first matches tomorrow super important to see who can maybe translate that into a victory overall in third person.
Yep.
But it's kind of a rivalry building here.
Yeah, you've watched so many games as well. Like, how much does day 1 really matter when you come back for day 2? How many times do we see that swing of momentum kick in on day 2?
I think that Liquid has kind of broken the day 2 Liquid curse.
Okay.
I mean, that was something that's kind of haunted them in the past. But now they come out a great first day. Now it's time to see if they can stay consistent. Can they, again, prove that day 2 Liquid is just as strong as day 1 Liquid?
I want to see more Black. I want to see these guys just wrecking face,
very well,
running in, actually doing the aggressive side. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like how Na'Vi was playing a lot, with this always holding the edge of the circle, coming in from the southwest, and just wrecking teams as they rotated in. This time it's Black. They always seem to find themselves in these pincer positions and just come out on top.
Yeah, I think they're staying calm. They're using their utility very well. We saw how they were using smokes to block line of sight so they could just move their vehicles a little bit, get away, as we see Scoom draping himself in the flag. Hi, Scoom. How you doing down there? You all right?
Yeah, what was he saying? Like, we can win this as number 1, right? Number 1, at least in one of the disciplines, be it third person or first person.
Absolutely, and I mean, again, going back to Genji Black, that utility usage, bailing themselves out through sheer patience, force of will, and a lot of skill from Grammatic in that game. He picked up 8 kills by himself, clearly top fragging.
Yep.
But I wonder, can you now put in a position twice to try and clutch for his team? Just barely missing out on little opportunities. He got Eevee down, but then it was just the backup coming in. Yeah. They're right there.
It was a real hard position, though. Like, they were forced into that shack position to try and find it. Then they couldn't move out of it because of Liquid. And then envelopment.
Just because you can see doesn't mean you can do anything about what you see. Like, yep, there's Liquid, I can see them.
So
all I need to do is push out of my shack and try and make something happen.
I can lean the corner and have my head shot off.
Yeah.
This sounds like a really great plan.
You do not want to do a wide peek on Liquid. They will punish you every single time.
Yep.
And really, it's been a terrific day of just up and down competition, but we can clearly see that Gen G Black has really brought it. And the Knights, even though they haven't quite translated that high kill count, that momentum into a victory here, they've been playing very well, but I think they need to maybe play almost a little bit more passively.
But it was that problem, right? Like they were trying to bite off more than they can chew, dealing with the front, but it's that one rogue player that was behind them that never let them focus on one angle of attack.
Right.
And that's what I always felt like the Pittsburgh Knights are really good at, where they're able to actually get into a good position and then they envelop and they control one part of the circle and everything else is then focused towards the middle. And this hasn't been able to come to fruition.
I think that the Knights are so good at maneuvering that this whole third-person perspective is kind of throwing them because they're not able to be as flexible in movement as they have been in the past, because Na'Vi and Knights have the similar traits that when they get moving and aggressive, they can roll through teams based on skill. But if a team turtles and waits for them to move, the time is no longer on their side, and they are forced into these drastic movements, or they just don't have all the information they need to translate that into success.
They can't pressure them out, right? Because you're able to just peek over the top of the cars or whatever other cover you're using. It's like, well, I know what fights I want to take. And the Knights haven't been able to force this issue, but again, they have to look behind themselves. How many times did they get one player knocked out?
K3,
and then they were bleeding. They were bleeding so much because, as you were mentioning at the very end of the rounds, like you just kept getting hit. Well, you kept getting knocked down. You kept getting revived. And how do you recover so quickly in that situation?
I really think that the Knights were just so concerned with Gen G Black in front of them that K3 would just like pop out, down Voxic, down Krama, whoever, just enough to annoy them to, again, destroy helmets, destroy vests, use meds. And in that end game, if you're having to make a clutch med and all you have is bandages, you have 0 time, the circle pressures you, and you're dead.
Actually, I don't know how teams try and combat that, because the amount of consumables we've been seeing burnt, like half the time we're watching people in these last circles, it's like, okay, how many grenades, how many smokes have I got? How many first aid kits have I got as well? And then the rest of it is like, well, okay, we'll wait for the fight. Now the fight comes, but there's so much trading without that final blow to come in from it.
And trading is so important, being able to win those 2v1s or 1v3s, depending on how it's set up. But we talked about this at the very beginning of our section here, these last 2 games, how much utility and meds play a factor. They need to stack those smoke grenades, and you can see how that's working for Gen G Black.
Oh, yeah.
They have a ton of utility always on the field, and they continue with it. You know, they outlast their opponents, essentially.
I was really worried about that in the 4th round, because like you saw, everyone was only looting really the eastern side, but there were so many teams that were very happy to burn the blue, and Black was one of those teams. They stuck out there longer than anybody else, even longer than Welcome to South George, who actually bailed back in a little bit earlier than Black did, and they just kept finding all this utility. And I think that's maybe another big thing to take from it. How much time do they take to get prepared for these fights which are coming in?
It's super important to have an efficient loot phase, and the more time you have, the more loot you can get. So really, they're trading. Do they want to get that easy rotation, get there first? Liquid has done a good job. They also had a bit of a circle handed to them a couple times last game and the game before that. But at the same time, for Gen G Black, they tank the blue for a little bit, and then they're okay because they can kind of say, okay, this compound's occupied, we'll play the edge, come in nice and soft, and then find themselves in horrible trouble from one time to the next, and then fight their way out, and then they do okay.
It's fine. We've got the med, so we had more than enough time to lose. So I have 1 painkiller, 1 first aid, and I've already dealt with the initial burn from the first blue throw. And then we're in, but they only hit their problems when someone's like gatekeeping, when someone's on the edge of the circle or it's a really clustered area, which did happen kind of a little earlier on. Though.
It seems that they're at their best when they're under the most pressure, and that is a sign of a good team. Those that can be patient, don't panic, and I hate to call them out again, Team Gates, kind of the opposite side, where when they get into trouble in rotation, they scatter, there's no utility being used, there's no time to trade, and just like that, they're being eliminated over and over again.
It was the lesson we were talking about downstairs during the first 2 rounds. Gates always surrounded by 3 to 4 teams, and you actually called it's like, oh, Gates is surrounded by 5 teams. I'm like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's actually 5. That's actually 5 teams. But it always finds like when Black comes in, they've only got like 1, maximum 2 teams they're dealing with, and they've always got one of the teams pinned in some level of defilade. So the position they come into is also one of strength, even if it may be a little bit weaker on one side. They're able to use one person to hold off one front.
WTSG having a little bit more success in that arena, not translating to the scoreboard success that I'm sure they want at this stage, but they are also finding themselves constantly at war on multiple angles. They have the skill to deal with it when they're working as a team, but they're just getting split apart. And I mean, you can say that for a lot of these guys who have spent most of their time in first-person perspective. Avangard's had some flashes of what I think are great maneuvers, but it just comes apart for them. So it's a matter of practice. I don't think the practice was there for third person coming into this tournament.
Yeah, I'm interested to see your opinion for tomorrow.
Okay.
Who is the team that can step it up? Who is the team that you have actually seen perform really well during today, but just not really get the kills? Who's a team that can start claiming first positions and contest that top 3 position going into the next?
I think
going into
Ghost
the
had
last day.
I mean, obviously Ghost had a great start winning the first game, and I think that they have the ability to play it just a little bit tighter. Really, I think that the extra downs in the early game is something we saw that with Profi, and we've seen it from him in the past, where he'll go down trying his best to do something good for the team, either scouting or getting that initial down, but he held a wide peak, hits that really long spray. It doesn't go in his favor. Instead of just backing off and resetting the fight, he just holds that peak for super long, goes down. That forces Balak to come and save him. McCoy has to come in with the vehicle, and it just sets them back just a little bit, but just enough that they lose their stride, lose that pace, and that costs them later on.
It's to tie up the loose end almost and just bring him back to the fold.
Yeah, and I mean, that's up to Balak, the in-game leader. He has to make sure that he's constantly commuting with his team. He's a great IGL. He really changed that team when he and Turtle came onto that roster. We've seen them win tournaments with this roster, but the question always is, can their early game go well? We've seen how they can perform if they're 4 strong, which, again, with any team, massively important. But if you're getting that early down and Profi's having to be saved, or even McCoy, whoever, if you're having to play off the back foot, you need that momentum, and it's really hard in this game.
Is that something we've also seen as well, like with the meta kind of shift? Like we've seen like the 3 and then the 1 scout, right, to try and find out who's in front. But then you see a team like Black who's always like functioning in more pairs. I've seen over the course of today, for example.
I mean, it depends on how you rotate. Like I think that Genji Black has come in on the edge. They maybe move a vehicle around. They're using their vehicle as an extension of their utility because it's super important to do that, to maintain that moving vehicle, because once it's destroyed, A, you can't drive it anymore, and B, it's permanent cover. It's not going to move. So if it's not in a good spot for you, you might be without cover entirely. So in the case of Ghost or any of these other teams that are not having good rotations, it's a matter of staying together and reacting efficiently. And in third person, you have the benefit of whipping your camera around and trying to get as much information as possible just to dodge.
Without having to move your character and potentially reveal your position either, or even just pop yourself up to revel your position, which you don't do in third person.
I mean,
Avangard with that weird
the groundhog.
What was this?
I mean, it's just
this.
I have no idea what that is.
I don't know. I guess it's a fan to cool you down.
I appreciate. Can you keep doing that? That'd be great. I mean,
I'm
overall,
always your fan.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. So the as far as the overall day is concerned, I'm very impressed with the way Liquid has been able to translate it into success. The third person where they're not quite comfortable, but you know, it's strange. Every time we say that Liquid isn't comfortable doing something, they manage to win. Either on Miramar or in third person perspective. I think they're maybe not giving themselves enough credit. We will see some round rankings.
This is what we were waiting for at least the end of the round. Hopefully we'll scroll through the rest of it too. So WTSG did come out on top with 120 total. I think that kill point may be a little bit off. For
not something we've seen
the round
from
ranking.
I mean, as far as kill points are concerned,
that'll be that's a challenge. But we're in the 11th for him, so it's 11th position down to the 20th. So not exactly what they want. And Gates racking up the bottom of it, and that's 5 rank points, nothing else. But here's the big one: Team Liquid and Genji Black, 180 kill points each. But of course, it's Liquid who takes the big total at 680.
I think this should be enough.
90 points to separation between them.
I can't recall what it was separating them beforehand, but if you look at the like that's how different it was. Even for the Knights, who had a good game, they were super active, but still 100 points behind that second place position. That's a big deal. 200 points behind first, and really for them. Here we go.
It's actually Genji Black.
Oh, it is Black.
At the end of day 1, 1,720 points. They only barely hold the lead by 35 against Team Liquid. So it does make Black your day 1 winners. And Knights and Liquid, they're still nipping on the heels. That is not an impassable lead.
That's a massive difference, but I mean, a great first day.
Yeah, a fantastic first day, and I believe we actually get to go down to the stage with the day one winners with Team Black.